Welcome to Think Big Podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Cookson, and today is the first episode of the series. I'm going to be doing a little bit of an introduction about me, just so then you know kind of my history and my background and why I have the views that I do, and sort of a few things that I've experienced along the way. So here goes, let's get straight into it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about spirituality and kind of like my beliefs, because for me that's my absolute core. That's my everyday. That's how I conduct myself. It's how I interact with people. It's about, how I love other people. It's massively, massively important. So I'd say probably I've been in spirituality for about a year now. Is it about a year? I think it's about a year. Do you know what? The days are rolling into one. I absolutely don't know. It is Sunday, I know that. It's the first day of Taurus season, so happy birthday to all those Tauruses out there. But yeah, probably about 18 months actually. Been about 18 months. And I don't know what happened really. I think one day in my head it just clicked. Like everything just clicked into place. And I honestly can't describe it to you. Like, I can't even pinpoint it. I can't pinpoint when it was, but I just know that I was really, really unhappy with myself and how I felt and with the people around me. And I don't even think it didn't even just click into place. I think it was a gradual process, but everything did eventually, just find its place in the world. But it's taken me a long time to get where I am today, and I'm so proud of everything that I've achieved and everything that I've accomplished. And to be honest, I never thought I'd get this far in life, really. I know that sounds really, really miserable, but it's not. It's, I'm trying to turn it into a sort of positive thing, but I didn't see myself even going to uni. Like, I just saw myself, I don't even know what I saw. Genuinely, when I was about 13, 14, I didn't even think I'd make it past high school. Like, that's as far as my kind of like projections sort of went. Like, I didn't think that I was even going to make it till I was like 18. I was just so miserable. Like, I just had no goals or anything to aspire towards. Like, I just had nothing. But I'm so proud of where I am. And I'm filled with so much love for the people that I have around me now, and I'm so grateful for the things that I have, and I just never dreamed of it, and it's fantastic, and I love every minute of it. So I was dating someone, sort of like this time last year, and I was giving all my love to them, and that's fine, as long as it's sort of like healthy. But I didn't realise at the time how much I was actually giving. I thought I was just, giving like 70%, 80%. But looking back now, like, I was giving everything, like 110%, like everything into this. And it was just really, really unhealthy. I think it was unhealthy for the both of us, to be honest. But I think sort of after then, that was kind of like, that was my wake-up call. That was it. I think that was it. So after we split up, I vowed to myself that I would be single for a year, and I would spend that year working on myself. And we're almost at a year. We're about 2 weeks off a year now. And it's, by God, it's been the best year of my life. No joke. And I'm not saying that in a horrible way. Like, I have so much, I'm still friends with the guy. Like, it's nothing bad. There's no bad, blood there. I'd still say hi in the street and have a little bit of a chit chat. We just weren't right for each other, and that's okay. That's okay sometimes to not, just be with someone, because I think you either grow together or you grow apart. And I was going to uni in September, and he had a job, and we were just two very different people, and that's what it was. But we were just trying to, make it work. I'll always remember the saying. I think it's in The Holiday, and I can't remember the character's name, and I can't remember the actress's name, but she says square peg round hole, and that's literally what we were like. That was just it in its most kind of like fundamental form. But yeah, so that's when it kind of like clicked that I need to focus on myself and get myself better, and be in the best position I can possibly be and be the happiest that I can be. Not because of anyone else. That's where I was going wrong. I was thinking that someone was going to come in, swoop me off my feet, and they were going to completely fix me, that they were going to be everything, that all my problems would go away. And I think that was my attitude towards relationships, and that was really, really toxic. So I was just like, do you know what, just cut that out completely. And once I did that, and you start realising that happiness actually comes from within, it's really hard, for one. It's a challenge to literally start from the bottom and work your way up. But once I'm coming from a place now where I've built myself up, I've built up my confidence, I've built up my resilience, I've built up my self-esteem for me and me only. No one else, just me. And it's fantastic saying that, because in the space of a year, I was this person that didn't think I looked, kind of good in any way, didn't like myself, didn't like the way that I looked on the outside. I didn't really know who I was on the inside either. Like I had a vague sort of idea, and, I'd just, this kind of like bullshit, really bold and confident girl was starting to show, but she just wasn't in her element yet. Like, she wasn't able to completely flourish, and I was being held back by the relationship, yeah. And, since I'm out of that, I've just spread my wings and I've flown. But yeah, so I think it's really important to focus on yourself. And the kind of ways that I did, like I said, number one, the first thing was being single for a year, and like I said, I'm almost at that mark. Just checking in with yourself regularly, just kind of like seeing how you feel, and just having days where, like, everyone has bad days. Everyone has days where they're not the usual selves. Like, you've got to have those days to appreciate the good days. Like, everything isn't going to be hunky-dory all the time. And I think that's just what I thought. I just had this really unrealistic sort of perspective of how, like, the world worked. So, yeah, that was that. And I've lost my train of thought, which isn't good. But yeah, just sort of meditation as well has been really good. I use the app Headspace, which I don't know if people have got like Spotify, but if you get Spotify Premium for students, it's free. It's rolled in with a subscription, and that really, really helps clear my head for things, especially during quarantine. It's been really, really good. But yeah, so like I said, once that kind of relationship ended, I did several things, and then I think, I don't know when it was, sort of over the summertime, I actually started to get into crystals, and I went to Hebden Bridge. It's my favourite crystal shop. It's Earth Spirit, and I just picked out a lot of crystals, and that's when I started to kind of develop my obsession with them, my unhealthy obsession with crystals. Every time I go into a sort of alternative spiritual kind of like shop, I always pick them up. I just can't help myself now. They're just so pretty. And I think it was that started to really get me into sort of spirituality, and I started to look up different, like, the types of stones that they were, and like the names and what they meant and what they were good for, and like where you should have them in your house, and kind of. And I think it's fascinating as well that you can incorporate crystals into meditation as well. So if you're trying to channel sort of like success, you'd sit there with citrine in your hand. Or if you were trying to work on your heart chakra, you'd sit there with aventurine. I hope I'm saying them right. I don't know. We'll just roll with it. But yeah, so you can incorporate the two into sort of your meditation. But that's when it started. Then I started to kind of like look into astrology, and like what crystals were good for like my zodiac sign. So I'm an Aries, as most of you probably know. I think the funniest thing for me when I was in foundation, someone once said to me, "Oh my God, you're such a Aries," and I've never been able to get that out of my head. It makes me laugh every time. But yeah, I'm definitely a major Aries. I can't even deny that. I'm just so passionate about everything, about absolutely everything. But you know, we do have our bad traits and our good traits. I am passionate, but I am very hot-headed, and I do have, you know, various. I'll speak my mind, and that's either a good thing or a bad thing for some people. But at least I'm honest about stuff, and I think that's why I'm doing this podcast. Just, you know, speaking my mind and offering the world my opinion on things. I might have a similar opinion. You might not agree. You know, I'd love to know what people kind of think of what I'm saying. So yeah, but no, I've wanted to do a podcast for absolutely ages, and I mean ages. I think sort of there was a sort of craze like when everyone was younger, like when people were doing like YouTube channels and things like that. I always wanted to do that, but I was really, really self-conscious about the kind of visuals that I'd put towards it. Like I was really uncomfortable with sort of having my face and me just sitting down in front of a camera and speaking. But I think a podcast is like a less invasive way of doing that, you know, because nobody's watching me. Even though it is, you'd be surprised. It is really hard trying to sit in front of a microphone and just talk. Like that's my excuse. I've been making so many excuses about this podcast. Like everyone keeps asking me, like my friends going, "Oh, when are you doing that podcast? Like I really want to hear it." And I'm like, "Oh, I need someone to kind of do an interview with." And that's what would have been my excuse. But you can just sit down and just talk. It is quite hard because it is literally just you know, in a room with a microphone, and you just have to kind of get this flow of conversation going, which I think I'm doing alright with. You might disagree. You can tell me off. I'm not bothered. But yeah, I bet my family think that I'm just going crazy and I'm just talking to myself in my room during quarantine. Oh my days. No, they'll be fine. But yeah, so that's when I started to kind of get into spirituality more, and then I started reading, because I had this sort of, like I said, this like epiphany. Like I just needed something more. I needed faith. I've never been like a religious person. I went to Catholic school. It was a really good school. I'm not going to slag the school off. Really, really good school. For like my high school years. And I loved it. I actually did. I loved it. I wasn't keen on it sort of like from year 7 till year 9, but I'd say sort of like 10 and 11. They were probably like the best years of my life. It was such a laugh. You know, it was just a nice environment. But I don't know. I've just never, like, even from a young age, like I remember saying to my mum, like the priest goes on and on and on. Like I just can't focus on what he's saying. I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I just don't know. It's just not for me. Because my mum was Church of England and my dad's Catholic, so I went to a Catholic school. And my mum said, well, when you're older, you can pick your own religion. And I was like, what? Whoa, this is really cool. Like, I can pick my own. That's nuts. Like, I just thought you were like assigned to it when you went to school or whatever. And I started reading more about religion because I took RE at A level. I absolutely loved my teacher, loved, you know, the content in the course, but the exams were just so horrible. A levels were horrible, just generally, and I think people will feel that. But yeah, and then I started to kind of like do my own reading when I sort of reached foundation, when I did a foundation degree, and I just started reading about all different types of religions, like Buddhism. Started reading a little bit about Wicca, started to read a little bit into like Islam, and I was just really, really, I don't know, I just really wanted something solid in my life. Like I really just wanted faith, and I thought that had to be via a religion. And I think the closest sort of religion to what I believe in is probably Wicca. You know, I have read bits about it. I've read some books and, you know, watched a few things, like a few of Harmony Niece's videos online. She's really cool. Check her out as well for Wicca videos. But I don't know, it just never sat right with me, like any sort of religion, and I was just striving for this kind of, like, not rules and regulations, but this way of living and what their values were, and I wanted their values to be in sync with mine. And like I said, I think probably Buddhism and Wicca are probably the closest two things that I'd sort of identify myself with. But I don't think you need a religion. Like, if that works for you, that works for you, and that's absolutely fine. Like, you know, I really, really admire people that are religious, because, you know, the dedication to prayer, to like go into places of worship, it's fantastic. But personally for me, like, it just doesn't work for me, and I like to sort of have my own little practice of just like meditation, because prayer and meditation are essentially the same things for me. That's what I believe in. You're just sitting down in a contemplative space, thinking about your day, thinking about what you want, thinking about your environment and the people around you. And, you know, that's a connection to your higher self, and to, if you believe in it, a God. I like to think of it as like a higher being. I don't like the word God, because for me it's just got masculine connotations, and I'm so fascinated by gender. That's what my entire like artwork is about. But I don't think it is gendered, this sort of higher being. And, you know, the God that I've kind of grown up with has always been masculine, like our Father. You know, masculine sort of terms like that, I don't really agree with it. Maybe one day I will. Maybe one day I'll, you know, adopt that term. But for me at the minute, it's spirit or higher being. I don't think it has a gender. I just think it's like the universe. I just think it's this power, like this source. Like, I know that shamanism, I don't really know how you say it, they adopt the term the source. Because that's the thing with me, like, I don't think that energy can be created or destroyed. That's why I highly believe in reincarnation. I was going to say recreation then. I couldn't think honestly, quarantine is doing things to me. Like, I can't think of words for things. So excuse me if I'm a little bit slow, but slower than usual. But yeah, I just think it can't be created or destroyed. So for me, I think that when you die, that you become reincarnated. I don't know if it's an animal, I don't know if it's a person, I don't know if it's just back into nature, but so I just think that's really powerful, you know, that this energy is just continual and it's everlasting. And I've just realised I've gone on a massive tangent, and I don't even know what I was saying originally. I know I was talking about myself and my journey. But yeah, I'll sort of bring it back a little bit. But yeah, so I started to get into sort of like spirituality. And I started looking at more, combining like astrology with it. And I've been looking at like moon phases, different sort of like, during like Wicca has got like a wheel of the year, and obviously there's different, I can't think of the word, what's the word? Like different, you know, like, I think it's like you have the summer solstice, the spring equinox. You know, they kind of believe in the different seasons of the year. That was the word, seasons. Oh my god, seasons of the year, and they have different festivals that are tailored around those different times of the year. But yeah, so I started to, like I said, bring astrology into it and look at various things. And that's when I started to get into tarot. I just felt really, really drawn to tarot for some reason. Like, some people, like, I know that my dad's girlfriend, she's really into, like, angels and believes in angels, and I've spoke to a few people that are really into, like, angelic sort of practices. And I've just never really been drawn to that. I think I've always been drawn to sort of like plants. I absolutely love plants. I think this modern sort of way of living is just so wrong. I just think we should all just be back in nature, and we should just, be sort of like pure and, really kind of like more. Oh, what's the word that I'm looking for? More natural, more sort of like raw. Like I don't think that kind of this structured way of living is right for us. And it is my absolute dream one day to live somewhere really exotic, like not in the middle of a jungle, but somewhere with loads and loads of like greenery, really nice views, like mountains, really, or just somewhere hot, somewhere nice. And I'd just love to just have a little like wood cabin house and just live like sustainably, like off my own energy, like solar energy and things like that, and just grow my own fruit and veg and just live really organically and just sustain myself that way. But no, I did try and go vegetarian a week before quarantine happened. That was very silly of me, wasn't it? I was doing so well. Like, thing is, I wouldn't actually miss meat. Because for me, when you eat meat, it's just, I think Gemma Collins said this, she's like, oh, it's eating death, like, I want to eat stuff that makes me feel like I'm alive, like vegetables and things like that, and I completely agree with it. I don't think that we should be eating meat, and I think that we should just, because it was a way of, like, company owners, like, making loads of money that was in the sort of meat and dairy industry, because I've watched a few things on, like, Russell Brand's sort of clips on Instagram and podcast. But yeah, we shouldn't really be eating those because it's not good for us. Every once in a while, yeah, it's fine. Like, ultimately, I'd love to be vegan, but I just know that I couldn't do that properly. And that's the thing. That's the other thing as well about being vegan. It's all well and good, but are you getting enough nutrients and vitamins that you need? And because you can be. People think that if you're vegan, that you lose weight because you're obviously not eating all the bad stuff, but that's not true. You can be a really, really bad vegan and actually put on weight because you're not, or malnourish yourself because you're not getting the vitamins and things like that. So, yeah, I tried to go veggie because I think veggie is like a good way of, or pesky actually, is a good way of being sort of balanced between the two, still getting enough vitamins and things like that, but, making a conscious effort to sort of cut out meat. But no, I was doing so well and I was actually really enjoying it, being veggie, and I felt a lot better actually. I felt like I had more energy. I felt really sort of, uplifted and a lot lighter in the way that I was walking and things like that, and just going about my daily life. I just felt a lot better. But yeah, quarantine, I'm eating what I am given and I am not complaining about it because, these are difficult times. And I keep hearing the word like unprecedented. Like the amount of times that I've heard unprecedented times is just getting on my nerves now. But anyway. So, but in Buddhism as well, like they say that like most Buddhists are vegetarian as well, and it's the same with Wicca as well. Like the like Wicca doesn't really have, it has some guidelines obviously, but its main sort of, you can kind of, like its main message is do what you will but harm none. So some people take that literally and they adopt this sort of, if I'm a vegetarian, then I'm not harming anything, I'm not killing any animals. But then I've spoken to someone who is a Wiccan, and they've said that they eat meat because they're not the ones killing it directly, so they're not the cause of it, like they're not harming anything. It's other people that are doing it. So I think that's interesting because it's sort of like a fine line between, how do you interpret these things? Like, what do you mean by, do what you will but harm none? Like, what I mean? It's just in the interpretation of it, especially when it comes to sort of vegetarianism. But no. Oh yeah, so the other thing that I've sort of been doing as well, so just to recap, so I promised myself I'd be single for a year to work on myself. I started to get into spirituality when I was, like when I started to pick up sort of crystals and I was researching meanings. Then I started to look into sort of astrology. Then I was looking into different religions, like I said, like Wicca and things like that, looking into like vegetarianism as well. That kind of like brought me a step closer. Tarot's definitely brought me a lot closer, because I think, like, for those of you that know me, I absolutely love watching Stargirl the Practical Witch on YouTube. She's fantastic at doing tarot pulls and card pulls. And I also love watching the Leo King and his astrology network. It's High Vibe TV. I love watching him as well. It's just brought me a lot more closer to what I believe in, and it's given me that faith that I was sort of searching for. But yeah, so what was I saying about? You'll have to excuse me, I'm so sorry. Oh, my brain's gone. I was saying about vegetarianism, things like that. Oh, that was it, journaling. Yeah. Recently, I read the book, The Key to Living the Law of Attraction, and that is just, this is during quarantine. I read that during quarantine. I've literally just finished it, like, today. But there's chapters in it where it asks you to sort of make up a dream list and, like, what you want out of life, and, you know, your aspirations, and it asks you to divide, you know, your life into 7 key areas. So it's like financial, health and body, you know, career and education, personal goals, relationships. And it's been really eye-opening for me, to be honest, because I think sort of without that, I was just, you know, like living, you know, taking each day as it comes, which during quarantine I think is a really good mentality to have. Just take each day as it comes. Like, you know, don't worry, don't get all anxious about, you know, it's out of our control, it's out of our hands. Like, there's nothing we can do about it. We've just got to take everything as it comes, do our best with the situation, you know, whether if that means, you know, going on not lots of walks, I mean, but, you know, going on a walk each day to kind of like, you know, keep your mental health in check. Whether if it's journaling, cooking, baking. I know quite a few people have been baking actually, and everyone's food looks so good. Like, I can't bake. I can cook, but I can't, like, bake. I've never been good at that type of thing. But yeah, yeah, I've been journaling, and it's been really eye-opening for me to sort of see what matters to me, you know, in myself, and what things that, you know, I think are really important. And it's just given me a lot more. It's like it's really, really grounded me a lot. And I've been focusing on sort of like self-love and telling myself that I am good enough, and that, you know, I do deserve things, and I am whole on my own. And I feel at a point where I'm really, really comfortable with that, and I like what I see in the mirror. I've lost a stone, just over a stone, well, a stone and 2 pounds since I've been to uni. I've lost all that on my own, just through eating better and exercising, like getting your 10,000 steps in. Like, my phone counts it for me. Like, I try and hit that every day. I'll just sit up. Oh, my leg's going dead. But yeah, I've just tried to sort of keep active, and just eat better, really. And I think that's you know, one way of having a positive sort of mindset. What else was I saying? I'm really sorry, I've lost my train of thought again. This is really bad. Oh, it'll come back to me. I'll give it a few minutes. But yeah, like I said about journaling. Oh, that was it, self-love. That was it. That was the one. I'm just telling myself that I'm whole, I am enough. And yeah, I'm really proud of myself and how far I've come and where I am today. And I just think at the minute I'm in such a good place. I've never felt like this in my life. Like, I just feel, I don't know if you can feel it, but I feel like I'm just constantly radiating like love and affection, and I hope that transpires through my podcast. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to sort of add. I'd love to do interviews as well with people. Obviously, once this lockdown's over with, I'd love to do interviews with people and see what they think and ask them questions. And if anybody's got sort of any questions that they'd like to ask me, I want to do sort of like an agony aunt sort of series as well, and just answer people's problems and see what I'd do in that situation. I think that'd be quite interesting. So I'm probably going to leave like a bit of a description, not a description box. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. I'll probably, send me a message on either my not my personal account. Send it to me on the Think Big podcast account, and I will try and answer them as best as possible. So, yeah, that's it for today. I'm gonna go and try and find my brain because I've currently lost it. No, I'm joking. I'm just going to go and probably have a cup of tea. But anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode, and tell me if you want more. Tell me if you don't want any more and you can't stand hearing my voice. I fully understand. But anyway, we'll see you guys later. Alright, bye.